Hello, everybody. I am super excited for this playthrough. If you've been a part of this channel for any time or seen any of my previous videos, I can guarantee you can click on just about any video on this channel or series, and I'll probably bring up the Silent Hill series at least 10 times per game we've played on here. So, specifically Silent Hill 2 is probably up there as maybe my favorite game of all time. It's kind of close with Metal Gear Solid 3, but as far as games that I've replayed, the original Silent Hill 2 is the one that I've played through the most in my life, easily. Games that I regularly replay, like Ocarina of Time, I'll play through like once every couple years. Metal Gear Solid 2, I play through like every year pretty much. Silent Hill 2 is like one of those games that I can literally play like 2 or 3 times a year. And so, with that being said, I consider the original game to be like a comfort game, if that's weird to say for a horror game. And I have such high expectations for this remake, just given the things I've seen, um, and then like the reception it's been getting. I will say that this is a blind playthrough of the remake. I've played the original many, many, many times. This is my first time playing the remake, but that being said, this is not the first time I've tried to record this video. So, yesterday I actually did play through a half hour because we do half hour segments on this channel. And I made it until the point where you're gonna grab the radio. And when I ended that episode, I checked the audio and I realized my microphone hadn't been recording the entire time. So I will say that from the beginning of the game up until getting the radio before what I'm assuming is the first enemy encounter, I have played through before. I just wanted to get that out there, but everything past that point will be blind. Another thing I want to mention is normally when I play games on this channel, I stream them to Twitch and I record those streams and upload them. If you've already glanced over at the chat, that is not the case this time around, and that's for two reasons. The first reason being because this game is so important to me and like how excited I am, I don't want to risk any chance of like someone coming in the chat and like backseat gaming or spoiling. Not that that's usually an issue, but just something to be cautious of because I'm so excited about this game. And then, oh, dropped my controller. Also, got the Silent Hill merch on right now. The other reason, hold on, I can't find my controller. The other reason that I am not going live is the apartment internet that I pay for has not been working for like 2 or 3 weeks now. Like I really don't have internet. It's usually like I straight up don't have internet, or if I do, it's under like 5 megabytes per second. So basically the same thing as not having internet. So I really couldn't stream even if I wanted to, which is fine. I just wanted to be able to record my blind playthrough of this game because it's so important to me. Because it's a game that I hold in such high regard. I want those raw reactions and thoughts, those blind thoughts, to be at least recorded in some capacity. But I think with all that being said, I've kind of rambled for like 3, almost 4 minutes straight, so I apologize. We're gonna get started. Like I said, keep in mind that up until getting the radio, I have played through that part, but I'll try to restate some of the things that I said in that original attempted recording because I have a lot of thoughts even within the first half hour of this game. And spoiler alert, they're mostly good thoughts. I'm genuinely so impressed. We're gonna keep combat and puzzle standard, but I am actually gonna do the retro interface present. One thing that I love about the original Silent Hill 2 is the lack of like on-screen indicators. I think the most that you get is in the PC version. You get that red cross that blinks when you're low on health, which usually I turn that off anyways. So we're gonna try to keep it as retro as possible. Will that mean I'm gonna probably miss items? Probably, but I kind of want to keep myself immersed without all a bunch of elements on the screen. But we will keep the graphics mode default. We're not going to do the 90s graphics mode. One thing that I should say is that you're going to hear me say the word original a lot because this is a remake of a game that I'm practically obsessed with at this point. Like, for example, this loading screen, chef's kiss. The white footsteps is so classic to the original game, and it's something that you don't really get to see if you play like the HD collection version or the PC enhanced edition because of the faster loading times. Thankfully, I do own a PS2 with the original game, so you know every now and again I'll boot up that version. But it is nice to see the white powdered footsteps making a return from the original game. Oh, as we get into this cutscene, I just want to say that I love the way they took the music. Like all the music so far that I've heard is like straight from the original game, but with like more instruments, and they might have even like remastered it. And speaking of remastered, the graphics. You can say what you want about Bloober Team and like the way that they write games or like their the games themselves. But one thing Bloober does really well is the graphics. I'm so glad they changed James from the original trailer when they first revealed this game. He looks so good. I really hope the game audio isn't too loud and drowning me out. I did try to adjust it. I'm so excited. Like I said, I've played this through the first half hour, and I've already been blown away by this. And so I just know that it's going to continue to impress me as the game goes on. Could you really be in this town?
Could you really be in this town?
One thing I really like, and I'm going to have to control myself because I will find myself probably quoting a lot of the lines in this game, and that's because this remake is very faithful to the script of the original game. A lot of things that are said are like verbatim just taken from the original game. Some lines are added on and some are removed. Like we'll see in this cutscene, he doesn't mention Rosewater Park at all, which he does in the original game when...
In my restless dreams, I see that town.
I'll just let this play through.
You promised you'd take me there again someday.
But you never did.
Never did. Well, I'm alone there now. In our special place. Waiting for you.
Those added strings and guitar just really add to the song. And the voice acting is actually really good too. And
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. My wife's name. It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true. That's what I keep telling myself. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then why am I looking for her? Our special place. What could she mean? This whole town was our special place. Could Mary really be here? Is she really alive?
waiting for me.
Waiting for me?
Whoo! First little bit of gameplay. So just some like minor differences in that scene is like I was saying before it started. Normally in the original game he'll be like, this whole town is our special place. Does she mean the park on the lake? And that's kind of supposed to signify like the first area you're supposed to go look for her. And so I do find it interesting that he doesn't mention that, and I don't know if at any point we're going to find something that kind of clues us in that we want to get to the park. And then he didn't say the classic, a dead person can't write a letter. And they completely cut that part out. But anyways, one thing I really love about this overlook is how like it's almost a one-to-one recreation of the original game. And there's a few areas in the game that I've seen even in this I know I'm going the wrong way. I in the original game he'll like, yeah. Oh, I got an achievement for that. That's so funny. In the original game he'll turn around and be like, this is the way I came from. No, but I like how this is like a perfect recreation. Even to the point where this sign over here, uh, I think in the original game it says something ridiculous, like old Silent Hill being like 200 some miles away or something like that. Or actually, maybe it was Bram's. Yeah, because it looks like Bram says 265, which that is the next town over. So, like, that was always the thing. But even the fact that old Silent Hill, which is kind of the area that you play in the first Silent Hill, is 50 miles away, like, that sign doesn't seem accurate. And I feel like the HD collection version with, people have their own opinions on that, but I do actually feel like one of their texture updates, I need the map, might have addressed that, but I always found that humorous. I like that he still parks crooked. There weren't lines in the parking lot in the original game, so now you can like really truly see just how much he did not care. Alright, so the map's the same. You get it from the car. However, it's not a full map. So normally you would get the full map of the entire town from his car, but I found yesterday that the town seems to be, or that at least the map of the town seems to be broken up into different chunks that you have to collect. So we got that classic descent through the forest. I like how subtle the sound effects are at this part, because in the original you can definitely hear like something walking in the woods or making like grunting sounds, and like yeah, you can still hear that here, and like we heard squishy footsteps a little bit ago, but it's not like in your face. That's something that I really like, and we'll see that as we approach this cutscene with Angela. Is that like one thing I really like is just how I don't know, everything seems to flow so smoothly. Like in the original game, and some people will say that this is like intended and it adds to the feel of the original game, is how awkward the line delivery is and like their pauses and the way they say things. But one thing I will say is that I really enjoyed this game's version of the graveyard cutscene with Angela, just for the set fact that she sounds like a 19-year-old girl, which is what she's supposed to be. In the original, she definitely did not sound or look like the age that she was supposed to be portrayed. And part of that may just be because of her backstory, which we'll see later in the game. She definitely has gone through a lot, and that might have affected the way that she portrays herself. But I don't know. I feel like this game does a.
It's like someone's groping around my skull.
I think that they do a really good job portraying Angela in this version, and I know a lot of people had issues with her pre-release, so I do find it interesting that he says that thing about someone groping around inside his skull after you save, because in the original it was before, and it wasn't voiced, so.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I was just...
Hey, it's okay. I didn't mean to scare you.
I'm kind of
I'm kinda
lost.
lost.
Lost?
Yeah. I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But
I think you should stay away.
I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it. And it's not just the fog either.
Is it dangerous?
Maybe. It's kind of hard to explain, but
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you. It's just... I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going either way.
But why?
I'm looking for
Someone.
someone. Someone very important to me.
too. I'm looking for my mama. I mean, my mother. It's been so long since I've seen her. I thought my father and brother were here, but I can't find them either.
Its delivery is so good in this version. And don't get me wrong, I love the original.
I'm sorry, it's not your problem.
No, I hope you find them.
Yeah, you too.
So good. Like Angela, I feel like, I don't know, something about her voice and the way she looks in this game, I feel like they did a really good job. Like, I'm very impressed so far, even in just this first cutscene. And well, I do like that you can still like go back over to her and talk like in the original. In that, I think it was like 2 cutscenes that would play of her saying 2 things over and over again. But she has a couple different things that she says here.
Did you want anything else?
No, it's just this fog. Does it seem unsettling to you?
I guess.
Speaking of the fog, that was like something I was so nervous about them getting wrong. And I can happily say that the fog looks so good. One thing I did not really care for when it came to like Downpour or even like the little teaser at the end of PT when it was showing Norman Reedus in Silent Hill for Silent Hills was just how like the fog was not very thick. And that's something that I love about Silent Hill is the thick fog where like you really can't see more than 10 feet in front of you and monsters just kind of appear. And I feel like this is like perfect. And once we get to the point where there's like enemies wandering around, I feel like it's just going to be terrifying. So I'm really glad that they nailed the fog this, because that was just that you can't have Silent Hill without fog. I like that you can just like hear something walking out there, even though there's nothing there. And here we have the classic Silent Hill Ranch. I was kind of curious about the sign because if you've played the original game, especially if you're familiar with the different versions of the original game, in the very original PS2 release, the sign has normal font like this, right? In the HD the HD collection re-release or whatever, for some reason they changed the texture to have Comic Sans, and that was kind of like a huge controversy, and I can see why, because that's weird. Also, I'm very curious if when we finish the game at least once, if a chainsaw is going to show up here, because that is one of the rewards you get in the original game for beating the game, and it shows up in that area. I do like how this like walk through the forest, through the graveyard, and into town is very like it's like it's 1-to-1, but there are subtle differences, as we'll see like up here where we have to actually go into a mechanic shop to get a key to continue. And that's something I'm really excited about with this remake, is all the new parts of town that you get to explore. Because they took the town, and you know, you could already explore a lot of it in the original game, and that is something I just love about the first few Silent Hills, especially 1 and 2, is just how much of the town you get to walk around. But even in this, you get to go in more buildings, and like here where we have to get a key. Like, I'm just so excited, like, because that's like half the fun of playing a Silent Hill game, is like exploring the town and just kind of getting lost. So we got the auto parts key. I think we can actually unlock this door. Again, I do apologize that this first chunk of the game is a lot of stuff that I've already done. I do promise that we'll soon get to a point where I haven't gone any further, and it'll be completely blind like what we usually do on this channel. But I do like getting this opportunity to recollect my thoughts from when I played through this part yesterday and just like gush about all the things that I love about it. Because like right here, right, this tunnel is like basically a perfect recreation of where you originally meet the lying figure monster in the original game. So the first monster that you come across is in a tunnel like this with the, you know, they have the fence there, the planks guarding it, the monsters in there, and the radio's like sitting on an oil drum or a crate outside, right? And James goes in there and beats the monster. The first time you meet the monster in this version of the game is different. If you've seen the trailer, you know, whatever, and we'll get to that point. But I like that they kind of have this area as almost like an homage to that original place where you meet the monster, even though it's in a completely different section of town, because in the original game you have to like go through town and down an alley to get to it. I just like that they have that there as kind of like hey, remember this? And like up to this point, a lot of the areas and like like the overlook, the graveyard, I'm pretty sure, and then like this path, that this winding path over like a little cistern or ravine or whatever you want to call it. This is all like 1-to-1, and I keep on saying that, but it's like perfectly recreated like layouts from the original game, just like in modern graphics and with more detail, which I just love that, because like you can make a remake and take a lot of creative liberties, but it gets to the point where if you do too much, it hardly resembles the original game. This, you know, going from like the graphics to the fact that a lot of lines are pretty much word for word like the conversations. I love that, like, it truly is just taking Silent Hill 2, which in my opinion is pretty much a perfect game, and just making it modern. And that's all they needed to do. And so this is what I was saying, like how in the original game, when you get the map out of his car, you have the full map of the town. But here we actually grab another part of this, or of the map for this section of town. And so like this street is the exact same as the original game, right? You go left, you got the roadblocks on the sides and like this wall here. And what I really appreciate is like they still have the flower shop here. Like in the original game, there's a flower shop here, and you'll get like a med kit from a table here. It doesn't look like that's the case this time around, but like, watch this. You can go into the flower shop. So we already have our first instance of like a familiar area that was in the original game that you can actually go inside now. And that's just like something I'm going to be so excited about going forward with this game. And I feel like it's going to make this series a very long one just because of how much I'm going to be spending exploring. Miss Cassandra, a customer came in today, ordered a mixed bouquet, red and white. I tried to explain it's bad luck, but he wouldn't decide on just one. He seemed a bit off, looked at me like I wasn't even there. Then he just left, said he'd be back to pick them up later. I just wanted to let you know since I might be gone by then. So I don't know, because I think there's new puzzles that weren't in the original game in this remake. So I don't know if that's going to be important, red and white flowers, or if it's just a little bit of world building. But I thought that was interesting. Also, red and white flowers is kind of funny because, like, I know they're a separate series, but, like, the umbrella logo from Resident Evil is the red and white. I do like that James, in this version of the game, still retains the whole looking, like, turning his head to see things that are interesting, because that was, like, mind-blowing when the original came out. Is that, like, if you walked past something, like, of interest or an item you can pick up, James would, like, naturally turn his head to look at it. I don't know if we've missed any collectibles besides that key, the automotive key, because I was pretty thorough when I did my original recording last night, kind of, like, wandering the streets, going into different nooks and crannies to see if there were things to pick up. And I didn't find anything. I know that, like, the original game, there's a lot of ammo and health scattered around the town, which I guess when you think about it logically doesn't make sense why people are just like, oh yeah, I'll leave a medkit here and some bullets here. But I figure after we meet the first enemy, which is, by the way, we've been following blood. I should have mentioned that. There was blood in the flower shop, and there's blood here. But after we meet the first enemy, I'm sure we'll start to collect, like, health items and ammo and stuff like that. But it is still fun to even just, like, without collecting anything, just bop in and out and check out all the just little parts of the town. That's, like, my favorite part of these games is the town itself is basically a character.
Hey, wait.
I don't know if it's just because I'm well aware of what that is, and the fact that we're following a monster, but like, and it could be because I played the original, but like, even a new player, you can tell that's not a person, right? Remains of the swamp. This land surrounding the monument was fell to the swamp, later filled. It was nicknamed Blood Swamp because the water washed tools after executions poured. One thing that is going to be interesting about playing without HUD elements is that I'm sure that's how you get like text on screens, so that like if something's barely legible like that, you can actually read it. But I guess that's something we'll have to get used to. Thankfully, that that tombstone or whatever you want to call it has like the same text as it does in the original. And I actually kind of stopped following the blood at one point. Oh yeah, that's right. Now this whole part is like very new to me because even though I did this portion yesterday, the place where you encounter the enemy for the first time in this game, like I mentioned earlier, is different than it was in the original. So like all these backyards and stuff, like this is all completely different. And one thing that I really like is that these backyard areas look like they were pulled right out of the first Silent Hill. Because in the first Silent Hill, you go through a couple of these like fenced in backyards behind houses. And I don't think you really do that in the second game. But even just like this like alternate path they added to the game is really cool because, you know, it's like remaking sections from that game.
Hello?
This part following the monster compared to the original 2 is really neat because like you get a little bit of foreshadowing about how this specific monster operates, because you can see that there's a small hole in the ground that we have to crawl through to get to, but you know, no, obviously that means the monster had to crawl, which is like one of the things that the lying figure, which is literally their name, they crawl around. So I do like that little bit of foreshadowing. We'll save really quick. All right. Gonna search around. I still don't know if there's anything collectible, but it's worth checking. One thing I'll say about anytime I play the original game, and normally I'll play that on normal because hard mode actually is pretty brutal in the original game, but I swear I finished that game with like 30 health drinks and like 20 med kits and 300 of every ammo pretty much. So I don't know if, just given the way that I've seen how the monsters in like promotionals act and how many they are and how fast they are, I'm sure we'll take a lot more hits. So I'm going to try my best to be very thorough collecting stuff when we're actually coming across items. That might be hard with me having the HUD elements turned off like I do, but I think it'll make it even more interesting. Alright, so right here is the furthest I've ever played. At this point, it truly is a blind playthrough. And just like that last time, I'm going to stop the recording here because we're at about a half hour. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed my thoughts so far. I know I've been kind of gushing about the original lot and like what I like about this game in comparison. And that's just going to be something that's going to happen. So hopefully you guys are cool with that because, like I said, it's such a important game for me. So when we continue in the next episode, it's all going to be fresh. I'm sure we're about to encounter our first monster. And I can't wait. So I'll see you then.